Robert Haley stars as Charlie McMahon in Give Me Shelter.
That movie.
He's a lot funnier talking to animals than he is playing a cop.
You didn't like Beverly Hills Cop?
Number 1 was pretty good, but by the time you got to the umpteenth sequel...
Spare change, lady? Money for a coffee?
Oren?
I gotta sleep in a box. He took my house, you know. Now I got no map.
Oren, it's me, Mrs. Parker.
Shut up! I told you! Oh, yeah?
Easy there, buddy. Hi.
Hi. I'll kill you. That's what you want, huh? Isn't it, Frankenstein?
Oren, listen to me. Are you off your meds again?
Criminal brain. I won't. Go away!
Easy, Oren. Nobody wants to hurt you. What's his problem?
He's got schizophrenia, poor boy. Oren, it's all right. It's me, Betty Parker.
Mrs. Parker? Oh, you be careful. They're here. He is anyway.
You know him from the church?
No, his father is an old friend of the family, from the islands. Oren, have you got your pills with you?
Don't need pills. I see clearly enough.
Well, sure you do, but maybe if you come to emergency, I've got a friend there can run Mr. Frankenstein off for you.
Too late. Too late. The damage is done.
Oren Mayfield, you're under arrest.
Kirk?
There's still somebody in the map room.
Read him his rights, boys.
Kirk!
What is going on here? What are you doing with Oren?
You know this man?
He's a friend of Betty's. Looks like he hasn't been taking his medication.
You can't arrest him for that, can you?
Depends. But that's not the issue. We're arresting him for murder. So, this is a major development.
What is a major development?
You and the church lady on a date.
I just ran into her at the show.
Yeah, right. And the two of you decided to go out, grab a coffee, talk over old times.
Well, I hadn't seen her since Carabana.
Yeah, you sure were keeping an eye on her then.
Will you stop?
Charlie, assign McPhee. Betty called me about Oren.
Yeah, she said you knew him.
My whole life. He's been busted for murder?
That's right. A man named Kevin Bryant.
No way! Oren's the sweetest man on the planet.
He's got a rap sheet says different.
He's a schizophrenic. He gets into trouble, but...
Jolene, thank God you're here.
Hi, Betty. Did you manage to contact Mr. Mayfield?
I did. He's coming down.
I don't think that's going to be of much use, Betty.
He won't be able to see Oren. Not tonight, anyway.
He's bringing down his medicine.
What might make more sense is moving Oren to Queen Street and get him stabilized.
Yeah, we'll get around to it.
But you want to interrogate him first.
Is that allowed?
Oren and the man who was killed shared a room at the Rexton.
The Rexton.
The Rexton Shelter. It's an experimental project set up by the mayor's task force on the homeless.
Which is why the mayor's office is taking an interest.
It's a very controversial facility. It was all over the city section last year.
Missed it.
The task force found out there were these extra beds and shelters all over town that weren't being used.
Turned out a lot of the homeless prefer a subway grading to a bed next to a psychopath.
Oren Mayfield is no psychopath.
Maybe not, but he was staying at the Rexton.
It's a special facility, Charlie. Set up to house the homeless in psychological crisis.
Oren was there when the homicide took place?
According to the house logs and the supervisor, he was last seen waiting for the payphone. Didn't like it much either.
And the deceased?
The deceased was talking to his long-dead mother and wouldn't get off the line.
Did anybody see Oren attack that man?
No, but...
And what does Oren say?
So far, nothing. That's why I've got to talk to him. Look, Mrs. Parker, we'll take care of the boy. But having his father down here isn't going to help. Besides, he had his pills in his pocket.
Then make him take them.
I'll try, but you should talk to the father. It's going to save us all a lot of pain and heartache.
Why?
There's TV news guys outside already. He doesn't want to have to go through that.
He's not going to leave his son here all alone.
Yeah, sure, he can call a lawyer. But if he knows Jolene is watching out for Oren...
You will let Jolene in on the interrogation?
If it brings him some peace of mind, for sure.
What do you think, Charlie?
I think Mr. Mayfield doesn't need to have a city TV camera shoved in his face. And as far as the interrogation goes, I'll stick around too. If that's okay with the SI.
Not a problem, if it gets Mrs. Parker on side.
Okay, I'll call him. But you should know, Mr. Mayfield is no fool, and you will be hearing from his lawyer in any case.
Why'd you do it, Orrin? Because a guy wouldn't get off the phone?
Well, why don't you ask your friend?
My friend.
He was there, wasn't he?
I don't know what McPhee's trying to prove. This will never get admitted into evidence.
Given Orrin's condition, I don't think that's going to matter.
That doesn't make it right.
What makes you think he was there?
He's here, isn't he?
You saw him at the Rexford then?
I see him lots of places. Shut up!
The faster this case gets closed, the faster the problem will go away, right?
What about Orrin?
Orrin, I'm over here.
I told you to shut up!
He'll get taken care of.
You're talking to him, right?
Right. And he won't even shut up!
He'll end up drugged into a vegetative state in a locked mental ward.
Always discussing my case.
Look, Jolene, I know he's an old friend, but if he did kill the guy, then...
I tell him I'm fine. He doesn't get it.
I still don't believe
You
it.
see you do it?
To what?
Bash Kevin's head in?
The way McPhee's playing this, nobody's even going to take the time to investigate the facts.
Kevin?
Kevin. Remember? He was on the phone talking to his mother and he wouldn't get off.
Kevin's mom is dead.
I know, but he still wouldn't get off the line. No wonder you lost it.
No, I didn't lose it. It's right here, see? It's here. It's here someplace. I had it. I did. I lost it. Kevin? Kevin's dead?
He doesn't even know what happened.
I bashed his head in. Oh, God. I bashed his head in, and he was talking to his mom.
This is so not right.
The guy confessed.
That doesn't mean he did it. Given
We
his...
got the supervisor's statement. Mayfield is obviously off his nut. Charlie, talk to her.
Sorry, Kirk, but if we're going to work together on this, I've got to tell you, nothing that went down in that interrogation room would hold up in court.
So what? This is not going to trial.
Why not?
Orrin is going to be committed, and this whole mess is going away.
Which is all you care about.
You are walking on very thin ice, Constable.
I'm sorry, but I saw the interrogation.
Which I allowed you to do as a very special favor to the family.
Thanks. But I wasn't convinced by the confession.
So, what do you want from me?
At least check out the events, make sure of the facts.
I am on my way to a press conference to talk about the swift action of Metro Homicide in closing a troubling case. And I am not assigning any detectives an investigation we've already closed. End of story.
But...
And if you start spilling your guts to the media, I'll have your badge, you hear me?
I hear you.
Good!
Hi, Betty.
Charlie,
Jolene asked me to drop by.
it's good of you to come. Strange, isn't it?
What?
That we would become friends. Jolene said she'd keep us posted.
Who's there?
Orrin,
He confessed.
you'd better come in. Robert, there's someone here I want you to meet.
Yes, who is it?
This is Charlie McMahon. He was with Jolene at the police station.
How is my boy?
They're transferring him to the Queen Street Mental Health Unit. Hopefully he'll be fine.
Jolene said she'll call when there was news.
I know, but she couldn't. It's complicated. There's a conflict of interest.
Conflict of it. Oh, my God. They've charged him. They've charged my poor boy with killing.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayfield. He confessed.
No, I know his gentle soul. He's innocent.
Yes, sir. But he wasn't taking his medicine.
The investigation will clear him. You will see.
I don't think you understand. He confessed. There'll be no investigation.
No. There must be an investigation.
Jolene will help.
Jolene can't help. That's why she sent me.
I don't understand. Jolene and Orrin, they were the closest of friends before his illness. She would never let the police railroad him into...
Jolene has been specifically ordered not to get involved in the case. And you can bet every sergeant in the station is keeping an eye on her.
That is wrong. To take away our advocate.
That is standard police procedure. But me, I'm a private citizen, and it's damn hard to rein me in once I get going.
You will investigate this matter?
To the best of my ability. But, Mr. Mayfield, I have to tell you, Working alone, my chances don't look good.
Then I will help you.
I beg your pardon?
Smile, Charlie. You've got a new partner.
You know what they call it in the neighborhood? The snake pit. Some nights I think they're right.
So what happened?
I already went through it with the police, and they have Orrin in custody.
Yes, ma'am. It's just that the Black Information Network doesn't always agree with the police assessment of a case, which is why we hired Mr. McMahon.
We're just trying to cover all the bases. Sometimes things come up. The media asks questions the police aren't ready for.
Tell me about it. Okay. Kevin, the guy who died, he was hard to control at the best of times. He came in pretty much blasted. I found a crack pipe in his pocket, took it away, and that didn't help things. But we got some soup into him, and he seemed to settle down.
But then?
Then, around 9:30, I was walking through the hall, and he was on the phone, talking to Mom. There were a couple of guys waiting, Orrin and Jimmy Short. Sorry.
Cold?
Yeah, I guess so.
They're going around.
What isn't? Anyway, both of them were both pretty hot under the collar. Jimmy, he got in my face over Kevin's phone time. He was dead right, but I didn't want the hassle of getting Mr. K off the phone, so I let Jimmy come into my office, use my line.
And Orrin?
He was fit to be tied, which wasn't unusual for him.
You don't sound like you're much of a fan.
His type? He gets nasty. Especially if you get in his face over his pills.
Which you did that night?
Which I do every night with somebody. Okay, fine. Maybe better living through chemistry doesn't feel all that much like better living. But for a guy like Orrin, that option isn't an option.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean. Guys like... He gets off his meds. He doesn't just have his best friend Frankenstein nipping at his heels. He's in communication with a Kiwanis lodge full of smiling devils, all after his soul.
But you didn't see him hit Kevin.
No, but he's got a violent streak, makes me believe it's possible.
Not according to his rap sheet.
Let me show you something. Last time me and Orrin had a discussion about his medication, Monday, he took exception to my recommendations.
Oh.
Yeah. He took a chair, smashed me over the back, and then went to work on my side.
Orrin did that?
Nothing as pretty as a great big purple bruise, is there?
Why didn't you report it?
Because I want this facility to work. Stories of violence in the shelter hurt us all.
And now?
I've got a dead one. Fact is, Orrin was there the last time I saw Kevin alive, and gone when we found the body. Maybe I made a mistake. What do you think?
How about Jimmy? Is he around?
Jimmy? See, Jimmy, he's kind of allergic to officers of the law. After the going-over that homicide detective McPhee gave him, he went camping.
Camping?
Yeah, Jimmy's a real Queen Scout.
So Jimmy's in one of the ravines?
Maybe. You want to find him? Good luck. I've got to handle this. What in the hell is going on back there? Hey, you've got to see this right now.
The Black Information Network?
It worked.
Yeah, but does it exist?
Not really. You believe that girl?
She sounds sincere enough.
You see the look in her eyes when she gave me the once-over? That woman's got another agenda for sure.
So the next big question, how do we find Jimmy Short?
Hi, Charlie.
Hi. You got it?
Yeah. All this would be a hell of a lot easier if our computer whiz wasn't away on course. The substantial rap sheet of Jimmy Short.
Anything of interest?
Assault, yes. Assault with a deadly weapon, yes. Attempted rape. Surprise.
Time inside?
A series of mental institutions. It's the same old story. Inside, they get the guy's meds worked out. He gets better. They release him. He feels fine, so he stops taking the pills. And the nature of the disease is such that, well, he doesn't realize it when he starts getting sick again.
Even Kirk must have had this info.
Yeah, sure he did. But Susan at the shelter did alibi Jimmy, right?
Right. Anything in there that might help with his whereabouts?
Oh, that's the good news. Look at page 2.
The guy's been busted 16 times on Toronto Island.
Yeah, they call him the Hermit of Hanlon's Point.
You're taking a big risk pulling these files.
Yeah, well, it's for Orrin.
You guys real tight?
In grade 10, you would have asked me. I would have told you I was going to marry Orrin Mayfield.
What happened?
Grade 11, he started reading Frankenstein. Got himself a world map, started drawing all over it, tracking the monster. He used to be a real sweet boy, Charlie.
I'm sorry.
Me too. My squad car just pulled in.
I told you this was a bad spot for a meet.
Oh, hey, come on. Nothing suspicious about a cop buying some donuts. Keep me posted.
It's freezing over here.
Some island. Not like home, that's for sure.
Just keep looking for the canoe, okay?
The first time Orrin brought him home, Jimmy told me he lived in a canoe. And Orrin swore it was true.
How can anybody live in a canoe?
You're letting your urban prejudices show. I mean, if he was living in a fridge crate.
There it is. Under those trees. It's flipped over and there's a light inside.
Call him.
What should I say?
Start with hello and take it from there.
Jimmy? Jimmy Short. Is Robert Mayfield. Orrin's father?
Mr. Mayfield? How you doing? How's Orrin?
Not too good.
Figures. Who's your friends?
This is Charlie and Betty. They're friends of Orrin, too.
That's so. Nature lovers?
I beg your pardon?
Are you nature lovers? Must be. Coming over here to God's country in deep fall.
We wanted to talk to you about Kevin.
Man was mentally ill. A very sick relationship with certain kinds of fiber optics.
Yeah, we heard he liked to talk to his dead mom.
Yeah. Ridiculous or what? By telephone. Mommy, phone home. I don't think so. But look up there. Look at that sky. Now, if I was to want to talk to the departed, that's where I'd address my salutations.
I would do the same.
Would you? How about you, Mr. Mayfield?
Well, I go to church.
We all do. We all do. It's a question of taste.
Taste?
Some people are drawn to pseudo-Gothic cathedrals, others to the Cathedral of Cyberspace. Me? I go for something God-built personal. How about you, Charlie?
St. Augustine.
God the Great Clockmaker. Good theory. Bogus, but worth a look. So what do you want from me?
Well, you know, Orrin's been arrested for killing this Kevin person.
Yeah? The cops gave me a pretty good going over about it.
We were just wondering what you told him.
Why?
I cannot believe my son did such a terrible thing.
It wasn't so terrible.
Why do you say that?
Kevin had the TB. I mean, nobody wanted to be spending a night with him coughing in your face. No way he had more than a couple of months before he fell over, choking on his own blood.
Anybody know he was that sick?
The whole world knew with all his hacking and spitting.
Just that there was nothing in the police report.
No?
Didn't you mention it?
Hey, man, I tell those guys as little as I can on the best of days. And that night, I was a mess.
Did Orrin know?
Hard to know what Orrin knows. Till Mr. Frankenstein tells him, right?
How about Susan?
Sour Sue? Sour Sue knows where all the bodies are buried.
Sounds like you don't like her much.
Hardly know her. Except for that week in Algonquin Park.
Algonquin Park?
With Tom. Tom Thompson. The Group of 7 painter guy. You know him?
I heard of him.
That's his canoe.
Yeah? How'd you get it?
Sue gave it to me. For killing him.
Merciful God.
You killed this Thompson man.
For her. Hit him with a paddle. Got away clean.
Just one problem, Jimmy. Tom Thompson died before you were born.
This time around, buddy. This time around. But me and Sue, we've been killing since the pyramids. Since before the beginning of time. You know? Castor and Pollux. 8 stars to the left. That's us.
S.I. McPhee's office. He's in conference. Can I take a message?
Tom Thompson.
He killed him. For Sour Sue Klein.
No kidding.
Did you know Kevin had TB?
Haven't got the coroner's report yet, but it's going around.
You notice Sour Sue's cough?
I wish you'd stop calling her that. So what? She's got a cold.
Or a motive.
That's a long reach, Charlie.
Yeah, so you still have to check it out.
Why are you doing this to me? I already closed this case, confession and all.
Now who's stretching it?
Jolene put you up to this, didn't she? Her and your lady love.
Jolene had nothing to do with it. And as for Betty, the issue here isn't who I call my friends. It's sloppy procedure, false arrest, racial profiling.
What? What? Roll back there, compadre. Racial what?
You got a white guy with a rap sheet as long as your left leg and a black guy with a couple of minor offenses. The white guy...
Man, that woman is poisoning your well. The white guy, in case you didn't notice, had an alibi, and a damn good one, too.
Unless Susan Klein was in on it. You switched Tom Thompson for Kevin, and we practically got a confession.
If you accept the premise that a long-dead member of the group of 7 is analogous with a psych ward escapee who talks to his dead mom long distance.
Yeah. You can get a laugh or two out of this in your office, but are you going to make the same comment on City News?
Oh, jeez, Charlie, you haven't talked to Christie, have you?
No.
What do you want from me?
Jolene assigned to the case and an open mind.
Fine. But I'm coming too. All the way praying the chief doesn't exile me to a traffic division in Scarberia. What do you need to chase this suicidal proposition?
Sue's medical records would be nice.
Fat chance.
How about her record of employment?
That I can do. Tomorrow?
Tonight.
So, we go in strong and really aggressive.
Won't work. She swims in aggression every day.
Then what do you recommend?
We go in humble. Just a couple of things we gotta clear up. A few flaws in our ironclad case. If she can help us lock it down...
Yeah, and it's all Charlie's fault.
I get to play bad cop?
Worse. Bad concerned citizen. You lie through your teeth about the evidence, and I get to be the good cop, unable to believe your irrational attack.
And I switch sides halfway through.
And if she doesn't break, we all go home and shut up and let me get on with my life.
Deal.
Ms. Klein?
Yeah? Detective McPhee, right?
Inspector McPhee, right?
Yeah? What can I do for you?
There's been some new developments in the case.
Yeah, like Orrin Mayfield didn't do it.
Now, Mr. McMahon...
Well, you've got the proof, don't you? I gave you the proof.
I believe you've met Mr. McMahon.
Yeah, some black research front of something. I remember.
Oh, I bet you do, given I'm playing for the other team.
I beg your pardon?
Mr. McMahon, if you could just shut up.
But we've got the proof. She did it.
Did what?
Shut up.
Sorry, Ms. Klein, but forensics has done extensive work on Orrin Mayfield's apparel, and there is absolutely no indication of blood anywhere.
Blood?
Splatter pattern. The autopsy reveals that the victim died of blunt force trauma.
Whoever killed him would have been splattered in blood.
I see. Well, perhaps we made a mistake. As I've said, none of us saw Orrin attack Kevin.
Yeah, we've been talking to Jimmy Short about that.
We found him, right?
It seems Mr. Short believes you and he conspired to kill Tom Thompson.
You've got to be kidding.
Yeah. Tom Thompson and a whole range of characters from King Tut right on to
Kevin Bryant.
Yeah, well, one of the problems of working with the mentally ill, you end up inside their delusional systems.
Yes, ma'am. Only problem is, Jimmy came up with a pretty solid motive for the killing.
What?
Revenge. Kevin Bryant gave you TB.
That's ridiculous.
You've got TB, haven't you?
No, I've got a cold.
Then why are you applying for disability?
That is a private matter, and you have no right
To examine your medical records? No, ma'am. But your record of employment.
This is absurd. Even if I was ill, that is hardly a reason to kill an afflicted client.
We asked Jimmy about that, too.
Oh, your prime witness. Is he still living under a canoe?
Well, you knew that, huh? So how come you wouldn't tell us?
Will you lay off, McMahon? Look, Ms. Klein, I know this is all absurd, but we've got to cross it off the list. And we can.
You can. Good.
Only 2 things we need. A doctor's certificate that you don't have TB, which gets rid of motive, and permission for forensics to go over your wardrobe to check for residual blood traces.
I'm calling my lawyer. Now.
Miss Klein, do you really want...
Now.
Well, given the circumstances, you are under arrest for the murder of Kevin Bryant. Charlie?
So, how'd it go?
She caved.
No way.
She'd just been diagnosed that day. And Kevin...
He jumped her the night the Rexton opened. A lot of heavy tongue action. She fought him off, didn't think much of it until she got the test results back from the doctor. One of those new superbugs, right? The antibiotics don't work.
Turned out her cold was maybe a death sentence.
She went off the deep end.
And when Jimmy came into the office in a rage at Kevin, she just pointed him in the right direction.
Like a heat-seeking missile.
Did they get Jimmy, too?
He's already in a facility where they'll let him out way too soon.
Or not. Remember, this time it's murder.
Orrin?
Back home with his dad. And back on his pills.
For now. Next time he goes off, who knows?
There's one good thing. He's got some friends. Who knows? Maybe he'll make it this time.
You have been listening to Give Me Shelter, this week's episode of our series, The Old Guy, by Paul LeDoux. Featured in the cast tonight, Robert Haley as Charlie McMahon, William Colgate as Kirk, Karen Glave as Jolene. With them, you also heard Arlene Duncan as Betty Parker, Charles Henry Joseph as Orrin Mayfield, Henry Gomez as Robert Mayfield, Deborah Grover as Susan Klein, and Simon Bradbury as Jimmy Short. The music was composed and conducted by Milan Kymlick. The recording engineer was Wayne Richards. Sound effects were by Matt Wilcott. Colleen Woods was the associate producer. Our coordinating producer is Barry Morgan. The program was produced and directed in Toronto by Bill Howell, the executive producer of the Mystery Project. To stay ahead of the action, visit our webpage at www.cbc.ca/Mystery Project. When you're there, click on the link to Arts Canada. That's the CBC's interactive site full of interesting features, including a special presentation of old guy stories and files. I'm Bob Boving, thanking you for listening and inviting your comments. See you next week.